two quick IMs just because they caught my eye. Clown Shoe Mike says, please talk about Mike Itkis, the independent candidate running against Jerry Nadler. I'll buy a Tushy if you do, please. I meant to get to this. My friend John Benjamin has been sending me images of Mike Itkis's work. He is getting out ahead of a sex tape that is apparently out there.
Wow.
Of him. He's running for office in New York City. He is in favor of he's in favor of sex outside of marriage.
Yeah, so this sex tape, this was leaked on purpose for publicity, right?
I don't know.
That never happens.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't seen the sex tape. I've only seen images from the sex tape, thanks to my friends.
I think that's what he's claiming, though. I
it.
think Itkis is claiming that it was for campaign purposes, but,
That he did it for campaign purposes.
But who's
Well, at least he's being transparent.
It's a good use of campaign funds.
I need to do more research on that before I comment any further.
Before we air it.
Vermont Ben, how serious should we take the Federalist piece on further aggressive radicalization of the right? You should not take it too seriously. I'm going to get into that probably on Monday or Tuesday. We'll talk about it. I don't know if you saw this piece in the Federalist where they finally basically come out of the closet, as it were, and say, we've got to stop calling it the conservative movement. Now, this was an argument I was making in 2004 when Andrew Sullivan was talking about conservatism. It was basically talking about conservatism in the same way that one might say that, like, oh, I'm going to try and revive Latin as the language still exists, but it is a dead language. And of course, that's what conservatism is. It is really just it's reactionaries. They're reactionaries and revanchists. But we'll get into it. I mean, at the very least, they're coming out and saying, like, let's not pretend anymore. Let's just go full on to the fascism. We'll get more into that. But speaking of someone who's been trying to stir up a little bit of fascism around the globe.
Oh, it's his proud project.
Yes.
Trying to start a fascism university in Europe, basically.
Well, one of the funny things, too, speaking of fascism, is that Berlusconi, the former prime minister of Italy, who was, certainly fasci in his own way, part of the coalition that has brought in Prime Minister Meloni. Apparently, tapes have come out where he has expressed solidarity with Putin and undercuts a little bit of Meloni's claims to be against Russian aggression in Ukraine. So we'll see how that turns out. But one of the guys who undoubtedly has been working with folks like that, if not those folks.
They're buddies. Yes. Meloni and Steve Bannon.
Here is Steve Bannon walking into the courtroom this morning. Unbeknownst to him, he was going to walk out of this courtroom a couple hours later with a verdict that he spend 4 months in jail and also owe some fines for his contempt of Congress.
How you doing, brother?
Traitor!
Thank you, ma'am. I want to thank all you guys for coming. Remember, this illegitimate regime, their judgment day is on 8 November when the Biden administration ends. I want to thank you all for coming. Thanks. By the way, and remember, take down the CCP. Thank you.
Yeah, well, he's going to appeal it, apparently. I'd imagine that he'll be in some sort of cushy, low-security situation and maybe get out within 2 months, even though sentence is 4. And then he'll get what he wanted, which was some sort of political martyrdom for his fascist project. But it's still good to see him taken down a peg, at least even if it's temporarily.
Well, I mean, it is important, I think, on some level, if Congress calls you to testify, that you be required to testify in particular. I mean, I'm not a big fan of of prison or people going to prison necessarily, although I am certainly willing to make certain exceptions in certain cases.
Not entirely against it.
Yes, yeah. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, maybe in a broader sense, in practice, there are some people who I would like to put in some form of jail for a long, long time. He's one of them. There are others. But I've wished worse things on, well, arguably worse people. So there it is. Steve Bannon. Bye-bye. Meanwhile, we're going to be talking to Ryan Grimm. I don't know. Bannon seemed to think that it would end the Biden administration on November 8th. Of course, Biden's not running for re-election, if he does, for another 2 years. So,
well, I mean, but that's when the installation of Donald Trump happens. You haven't been
It's just like a millennial
on
cult.
8chan. I mean, come on. You don't understand. This is when Q's about to strike.
Exactly. It's like it's a millennial cult. It's just the next date, they'll just push it, keep pushing it back.
I know.
Exactly.
Right.
We're going to be talking to Ryan Grimm in just a moment or two about his piece.